On December 4th, 1884, high-ranking officials of Joseon gathered in Jongno to celebrate the opening of Ujeonggu, the postal service department of Joseon. Suddenly, there were shoutings, "Fire! Fire! Fire!" While people were surprised and trying to figure out what's going on, Minyoung had some suspicious feeling and quickly went out of the place. But there was an assassin waiting for him. He got stabbed and fell off. He got stabbed several times and fell off. Then Hongyongshik and Kehwapa, the Reform Party, kidnapped King Kojong and killed Sugupa members, the extreme conservatives who had the power in the regime. It was the beginning of Gabsinjeongbeyun, and 홍영식 has to kill his friend Minyoung. Why? It starts with the Bobingsa trip to the US. 민영익, 홍영식, 서광범, 유길준, and others. They were prominent and intelligent, aristocratic young men who were very interested in the nation's modernization. They went to the US as the Bobingsa members in 1883, as I mentioned in my previous speech. In the US, they visited and observed many places. The International Expo, factories, farms, including dairy farms, and schools, hospital, railroad company, Edison's Electric Light Company, a military academy, fire station, etc. After they finished about 40 days tour, Hongyongshik came back to Joseon right away. But Minyoung and others, they left for Europe with the support of the US President Chester Arthur. Minyoung group, they visited Paris, London, Rome, Cairo, etc. And via India, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Japan, they came back to Joseon in May 1884. Hongyongshik and Kehapa members, they welcomed them hugely, hoping that they could lead the nation's reform and modernization together. Minyoung said about the trip like this: "I was born in the world of darkness, went to the world of brightness, and came back to the darkness again. I cannot see clearly which way I had to go to, but I hope I can find it soon." However, Minyoung turned his back on Kehapa. He was reluctant to reform the nation and suppress the Kehapa. Youngik and Kehapa members were very disappointed. Actually, Youngik, when he came back to Joseon from the US, he said to King Kojong that what Joseon needed the most was science and technology, and he started to establish the postal service. He became the chief of the Ujeonggu, and at the night of the celebration for opening it, he and Kehapa tried to remove Minyoung and Sugupa. Yes, it was Gabsinjeongbeyun, and they announced to abolish the Todaism toward Cheong and the hierarchical society. When Minyoung was stabbed and bleeding to death, Youngik cannot ignore him. Well, they had studied together. They had been in the US together. as number one, number two. And they shared their thoughts and feelings about Western civilization together. Most of all, they were friends. So Youngsik took him to Mellendorf, a Russian diplomat, and Mellendorf took him to Allen. Allen, the first Western doctor and missionary in Joseon. And thanks to Allen, Min영익 survived. But Queen Min, she called Chung's military force, which was dispatched at the time in Joseon, to defeat Gaehwapa. And the coup d'etat was failed in 3 days. Youngsik and Gaehwapa members were killed, and some fled to Japan. Yongsik's whole families killed themselves. While I was studying this, I kept thinking about Minyoung. What happened to him after he came back from Europe? Why was he reluctant to join to Gaehwapa and reform the country together? Was he overwhelmed by the Western civilization and was afraid of the storm of the Western culture, which might sweep away and drown Joseon? Or did he just want to keep the power of the regime as a royal family backed by Queen Min? Nowadays, Minyoung is evaluated as a moderate Gaehwapa, and Youngsik is a radical Gaehwapa. They both wanted the nation's prosperity through modernization, but there seemed no enough communication, persuasion, and compromise on how between them. And their fighting and killing each other was a big loss for Joseon. If they had communication and leadership skills, would Joseon have had different destination? Well, we have to learn from history and do not repeat the same mistakes. Back to Toastmaster.